Welcome, everybody, to Uncluttered and Unfiltered. I'm Eden Kendall. With me is Christine Stone of Neatly Designed, and neither of us had to do any work for this particular episode. You guys did all the heavy lifting.
I loved every minute of reading these. These are great.
We asked you on our Ladies Only Uncluttered and Unfiltered page, and at the end of the episode, we'll tell you, if you aren't already a part of it, how to be a part of this growing community that is so much fun. But we said, let's start a thread of just random advice. No specific topic, just great advice. So what we're going to do is read most of these and talk about them a little bit. So this is advice from other women that are 50 and over, and we'll throw in our little tidbits at the end. But again, this is what you call a lazy man's or lazy woman's podcast, because we didn't have to do anything. You guys did everything.
I know, but you know what's weird is when I went on to read these, I really took each one and thought, wow, these are great tips.
Truly great tips.
I mean, truly great tips.
So let's start with Holly, because I think this one is important from the day you're born. Trust your gut.
Oh, I mean,
how many times have you said that to your daughters?
This morning.
Really?
I said that this morning. Always listen to your inside intuition, because it will never fail you. That's a woman's gift that they have, that they will never. If you have a weird feeling, there's a reason.
True.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have a weird feeling, and then the conversation will move on to something else, and I can't shake that feeling. Like, what was it that came up that's been bothering me about that thing? And then I have to kind of go through my entire day, try to remember what that thing was, and then I can really hone in on it.
Right.
But we have it. We have this alert in our bodies that tells us when something's not.
As you get older, it even gets better.
Louder. Yeah.
It gets louder. It gets better, because you've had it your whole life, and now it's just every little thing, you know what it means.
Mm-hmm. True. Elsie says, it's okay to say no.
Love that, Elsie. Love it.
It is.
Honestly.
True. Now, I'm going to switch gears for Shayla, because she has gone from the very wide array of trust your gut and it's okay to say no. But this is why I loved this whole thread, because it was so random.
Oh, love it.
So she wanted to say, keep gallon-sized Ziplocs in the seat pockets of your car. When the kids were younger, it saved us time when they got sick.
I love that.
It's a great idea.
I think that's true, though. I think whether you have young kids or elderly parents, I always say keep a Ziploc bag, a plastic bag, some rags, something in the car, because you just never know.
And it can be used for wet clothes.
Anything.
It can be used for anything. But I just think it's fun that we could go from something like trust your gut to keep a Ziploc bag in case your kid hurls. But that's why we said random. Jean says stay hydrated.
I think that's a really good one. And I would have never, ever thought that. But I say, especially now with this heat, I mean, heat stroke can happen very easily. So I agree with her. Stay hydrated.
I saw a doctor on TV recently that said that a lot of the symptoms we have that we think are other things are dehydration.
Yes.
Even like the common cold.
Yep.
Sniffles, sinus issues, all dehydration.
Yes.
Drink your water. Let it go. Oh, Kathleen said let it go.
Kathleen.
And don't look back.
You know us.
Never play in yellow snow, says Jennifer. Well, here we are in Florida. That doesn't apply to us.
Right. That doesn't apply to us Floridians.
But you guys that are listening where it snows, I'm sure you've known that since you were little.
Yes.
You can fire a doctor.
I loved that one.
Candace said that they don't know everything. They're not the final word on how you proceed with your care or the care of your child, or in our case, the care of your parents.
And you know what's funny? I have said this repeatedly to my elderly mother, because they come from a different generation where they think that doctors are God. And don't get me wrong, I have some fabulous doctors, but I mean, I'm always under the impression, get a second opinion. I mean, have other opinions. So I totally agree with her. listen to your gut. If you're feeling you're being ignored, definitely listen to it.
Agree. Dina says, when a person shows you who they are, believe them.
I've said that quite a few times too, so I totally agree with her. I think people try to think they can change people, and they may change for a month or 6 weeks or 6 months, but when someone shows you their true colors, if you keep ignoring it, I don't know. I think you're setting yourself up. So I agree with her.
Keep 2 glasses of water by your bed at night, 1 to drink if you wake up in the middle of the night thirsty, and 1 to drink immediately when you get out of bed. It helps get a jump start on daily hydration. So I know that as an organizer, I should have put that over with Jean's comment about hydrating, but we're going in order to show the randomness. What do you think about that? 2 glasses of water, 1 for if you're thirsty, 1 for the first thing you do in the morning when you wake up.
Okay, so I read all these. So last night I put 1 down for last night and I drank the whole thing. And then this morning I drank the other one. So I listened to these and I thought it was great because I did feel like a good kickstart to my morning and my water intake. So I loved that.
I believe I will start that immediately.
I loved it. Yeah.
Let's see, that's Karen. Thank you, Karen. Erica says, make a new plan, Stan. We more often regret things not tried, so try it all when you can.
I agree with that. I don't think anyone should force you at this age to be trying things. I think you're a grown adult, and if you want to try something, you should do it. But sure, I mean, why not?
Michelle says, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And I know what she means. Sometimes you can die on a hill just because you want to be right, when the easier or more happiness-inducing thing would be to just give in a little bit.
I agree with that. And that took me a long time to learn. I think that as you get older, you learn that you have to pick your battles and really think, it'll stress me out and then they'll move on with their day and not even give it a second look. So, why even think about it more? Don't overthink it.
Erica chimed back in on that one that said that Dr. Phil said decades ago, do you want to be right or do you want to be married?
I love
Same thing.
Dr. Phil. I agree. I mean, especially if you've been in a long-term marriage like you and I, at some point you kind of give up some of those things that you thought you were all proved to him. You're like, whatever. Okay, good. Let's move on now. Yeah, I agree.
Sherry says, laughter is like soap for the soul. What makes you laugh? Find out and do more of that. It's true. When I have a good belly laugh, it feels so good inside and out.
I agree.
There's a quote from the movie Steel Magnolias from Dolly Parton, and she says, laughter through tears is my favorite emotion.
Yeah.
When you are feeling sad and someone comes and makes you laugh, that feeling right there, that is a good
And I think
feeling.
you should surround yourself with people that make you laugh, not people that make you stressed out, like someone that can come over and you will belly laugh. It's hard to find those kind of people, but when you do, they're priceless.
And it gets easier and easier to laugh with people as the days and years pass.
Yes.
You get to that point where your defenses come down, and then next thing you know, you're all laughing to the point of tears.
Yes.
And
or
it happens.
peeing your pants, either one.
Your pants, which makes everyone else laugh too. Leslie says, don't forget to breathe.
Leslie, I totally agree, because there are times I'll say, breathe. Like, I'll forget to breathe. Like, I'm going, and I'll stop and say, I just need to take a big breath. So I agree with that too.
Allison says, be afraid and do it anyway. Next year, you will wish you had started today. So I think those are 2 little separate snippets there. Be afraid and do it anyway. That's something that I have said for years. Like, I'm not afraid to do. Let me rephrase that. It's not about the fact that I won't do it if I'm afraid. It's the fact that being brave is you are afraid, but you still do it. And one time my son had paddled his kayak out where a whale was breaching the surface and took this amazing video. And I said to him, were you scared? And he said, if I was scared, would I have done it? And I said, of course. I always do things I'm scared of.
Right.
But in his mind, he was like, no, I either did it and I wasn't afraid, or I was afraid and I didn't do it. But in the middle there is what's bravery, where you are so scared to do it, but you still do it because it needs to get done.
I think it all depends what it is.
Well, I'm not talking about being unsafe.
Okay.
But
I think it all depends what it is. Like if I am going to save a child in a burning car, that's different. Of course, I'm going to, my adrenaline would kick in. And even though it might be scary, I'm going to do it. But I don't know if you've seen this on Netflix where they dive down in the water and they're deep water divers. They hold their breath.
Yeah, free diving.
Oh, free diving. Well, I just watched that. And like that, I don't think that's about bravery. I think that's insanity. And so that's what I mean. Like if someone said, let's go free diving or free breathe, I'd be like, are you crazy?
Okay, but you're thinking about extreme sports. I'm talking about things like public speaking or getting out of your comfort zone.
Oh, well, yes, that I agree with you.
You know it's going to
Right.
further your career. You know it's something you should do, could do, but you're right. I mean, there are definitely things you don't, and that goes back to the whole, like, you can say no.
Right.
Because there's nobody convincing me to hold my breath and dive down deep now.
No, or like I said, or for me, getting a tattoo, that's awful. I'm not that there's anything wrong with them. It's just I'm petrified of needles, so that wouldn't happen. Or going on a roller coaster at my age,
Right.
not going to happen. And like you say, people are like, come on, you wimp, you can do it. I'm like,
It's not a necessary thing to do. That's not going to help anybody in the long run.
I'm scared of them. That's what I'm saying. I'm scared of, I just don't like roller coasters or needles. So I think it all depends what it is, but I love that, Sometimes people are afraid to do simple things, and it is just getting out
Make
of
a new friend.
Yeah, right. Making new friends.
Mm-hmm. Do it anyway, unless it's a potential Netflix special where we're going to sit there drinking our wine and thinking you're an idiot.
Right.
Travel as often as you can. That's from Tracy.
Interesting.
That's an interesting, yes. Rita, of course, be kind.
Yes.
No better advice
I mean,
than that.
I agree. That's so
And that's
important. I wish everyone just would be kind.
Here's the one I know you're going to enjoy. Regina says, care for your feet early and often.
Okay, Regina, I just want you to know I read this, then went out in the garage and dropped a gardening tool on my toe, and it blew up, turned black and blue. And I thought about you immediately, said, oh my God, I should have been wearing closed shoes. She was right. I need to take care of my feet. So I'm telling you, I really read these and you come to mind. So yes, taking care of your feet as you age is so important.
Tracy says, moisturize, and I love the word she chose, your décolletage, your cleavage area. Moisturize. And she's not wrong. Do you ever wake up from sleeping on your side?
Yes.
My gosh. I mean, when I first wake up and I'm look at and I forget every time that it's temporary and it's going to ease up and you have all those lines like right there on your chest.
But the only thing is, I'm going to stop you for a second. The other alternatives to sleep on your back, and I've even seen, YouTubes and all these from these beauty bloggers, and they have like a wedge pillow and they sleep on their back and it prevents like wrinkles in the face and wrinkles here. But I have tried a million times to sleep on my back and I just can't do it. So I may have to, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Moisturize. That's what I'm going to do.
Moisturize that décolletage.
Yes.
And you know what else? I wish so much that the next one was sleep on your back.
Right.
It's not. Let's see. Larissa said, you become the average of the 5 people that you most associate yourself with.
Absolutely.
That's a whole lay down with dogs wake up with fleas mentality, right?
Absolutely. I always have said, the other thing I've always said is you are who the company you keep. So whoever you're around is either what others will think of you or you become. If everyone's bitching and moaning and complaining, then you're going to feel like, oh, God, this is so stressful. If you're happy with happy people that make you laugh and cheerful and funny, I think it is. I think she's 100% right.
I agree. Kim says, you teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
That's something that we need to always tell our daughters too. I found this is fantastic, and I will put a link to this, I think, in the show notes. There is a dad, he's on Instagram Reels and TikTok, and he has a series of videos where he does all of these things like fill in my gas tank so that your son knows that my daughter is going to expect you to do that for her in the morning. Like just teaching his daughter how to be treated by men.
Yes.
Taking my daughter out to lunch so
Yes.
she knows that your son is going to have to do better.
Well, especially nowadays. I mean, just hearing from friends' kids, my own what goes on in dating now. I mean,
and it's also in the workplace and friendships, but you set boundaries or you don't.
Right.
And then the people who will take advantage will take advantage. And
Right.
the people who won't, of course, they're not going to, but you're sending a message to people saying, this is all I require of you.
And
if it's a little bit more, then they'll hang around or they won't. And
Right.
they'll base that. But in the first thing that came to mind was that video series, because this dad, it's just adorable. I mean, he's doing all these wonderful things with his daughter, and he's saying he's doing them so that her expectations are high.
Well, and I also think it is how you feel about yourself. So if you feel bad about yourself, that's how others are going to see you, and they will treat you that way. So a lot of it is instilling in your kids as well as yourself that you're better than that you deserve better than that.
That one was from Kim, by the way. Kathy says, listen to your women's intuition. God gave it to you for a reason, and besides, it's just for women.
Yes, I told you that.
Yeah.
I think it's a woman's gift.
Mm-hmm. Kimberly says, always stand up for yourself. Sure.
Absolutely.
That's kind of along those lines. Autumn says, shit or get off the pot.
I agree with that.
Indecision could kill a guy.
Indecision at our age, when are you going to do it? I mean, You don't have time. I mean, either do it or don't do it. But to be in that indecisive place at 60 years old, it's kind of like, well, if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it?
Stacy says, when you feel like quitting, remember why you started. And
I believe in that.
Marcy says, pray about everything. Surround yourself with friends who speak the truth to you and love, encourage, and are trustworthy. Kimberly says, I wanted to end specifically on this one for these. Kimberly says, follow your heart, but take your brain with you.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Think things through.
I'm a hopeless romantic, but I have my intuition. So I think that that's something is very true.
Okay, so as an organizer, do you have any sage advice for everybody that you can summarize into one thought?
Well, my one tip, whether I was an organizer or not, just from general, what I see even as a layperson, is purge on a regular basis, getting rid of items weekly that you no longer need, use, or want, especially those that have emotional attachment to them, because that is the number one thing I see is it's just so hard to part with emotional clutter. So taking it 1 week at a time, but just doing it. Start small, but start somewhere.
Okay. And mine, we discussed this before we started recording, and I saw it reflected throughout some of these as well, as just don't do optional things you hate. If you don't like to do it and it's optional, don't do it. It kind of goes along with setting boundaries with other people too. I have so many friends and coworkers who will say this person took advantage of their time or that person did this. And sometimes, and I know it's easier said than done, setting those boundaries, but if there's somebody asks you to a dinner or a party, or there is some kind of activity going on and you just know you're not going to enjoy it and you don't have to do it, don't do it, because there are a lot of things in life we can't get back, and time is one of them.
Well, my kids always laugh at me because my new mantra is, if I do something I don't really want to do, but I'm doing it to please somebody else, I'm going to be really, really mad if I get hit by a bus, drop dead of a heart attack, and that was the last thing I did on this earth. I would be up in heaven going, really? That's what I did with my last... So that's my new thing. It may be weird, but that's how I think of things, because I guess as the older you get, you really are limited to the time that you have on this earth. And so you really want to fill it with people you love, things you love to do, and keeping your life as peaceful and calm as possible.
And you don't want your last words to be, I told you
right
how to do this. Everyone, thank you so much for contributing. If you didn't, then we will make sure to leave that post. In fact, you know what we'll do too is we'll pin it somehow. I don't know, I don't know if you can do that on a ladies group, but like that. But we're going to do something to make sure that you can find it. As people are adding to it, it'll float to the top of the page. Uncluttered and Unfiltered, ladies only. That is our community. That is our private group where you can say anything and it stays within the group as far as other women, until we say it on the podcast.
Right, and then forget it.
And call you out by name. We ask you to follow us on all of our socials, and we do have pretty much all of them.
Yes.
And then if you can leave a review, if you can like us, if you can subscribe, then you always get notified when we have an episode that launches, which is typically every Wednesday. And I guess that just leaves us with this.
I want to say one thing.
Please do.
I really, really have enjoyed these back and forth, reading these, because I feel like I'm in a community now of other people going through what I'm going through. So, ladies, honestly, thank you so much.
Yeah, this was the goal. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
And, you start out doing something like this and you're not really sure what's the goal here. And I think we said to create a community, but we kind of didn't know what that looked like.
Right.
And now today I can say with this episode, it's maybe the most I've felt it.
Me too.
Especially because what you didn't hear was a lot of other women commenting on those little gems or leaving a heart or a thumbs up saying, you got it, sister.
Yes.
So join us, please. And if you don't, we'll be disappointed, to be honest.
Yes. I want to read more. I want to learn more. That's where I'm at my life. I just want to learn more from everybody.
And answer questions, too.
Yes.
If you have a question, let us know. In the meantime, remember, our advice every single week is with all things, you can let it go.
And don't look back.